Welcome to Reread. We're on Book 3 of the Bounty Hunter Wars by H.W. Jeter. This is hard merchandise. Let's do this. Zuckuss says that the last time in this book, the last time that he met Boba Fett was through an escape pod. He saw Boba Fett through an escape pod. All right, so it wasn't during Empire Strikes Back. Now, this did happen. The flashbacks happened before A New Hope. That's what we're told. Yet, now, and this is in the future, I think, this is today after Return of the Jedi, H.W. Jeter forgot about a movie, Empire Strikes Back. Again, these aren't the worst, but it's like H.W. Jeter just thought about his story and no one else's, even George's story in the movies. Like he totally forgot, I guess, that Zuckuss was there with Boba Fett. Because he says, oh, the last time I saw Boba Fett, it was out through an escape pod, you know, when he shot me and Bosk out together. You know, it was before or after A New Hope, but before Empire Strikes Back. So stop me if you've heard this before, but Bosk walks into a cantina. While he's walking into a cantina, he's taking about 5 to 10 pages, thinking about all the events of what's going on, and someone confronts him, and with the information that they know, Boba Fett's alive. Wait a minute, I thought this was supposed to be a secret. The whole thing was supposed to be a secret. And this is one thing that they have a big issue with. It seems like everyone in the universe knows Boba Fett's alive. Mos Eisley does. A lot of criminals do. A lot of people are figuring it out. But yet, Boba Fett doesn't want the Alliance to know. Now, that's because H.W. Jeter was probably under the guidance of Lucasfilm to say, hey, in Dark Empire, Han Solo is shocked to see Boba Fett. So you got to keep Boba Fett's resurrection a secret to the Alliance, I guess. So Han Solo won't know. Because, you know, Han Solo stopped dealing with all those people from the underworld, and surely they would announce, or he would hear that Boba Fett's alive. So it's a little bit unrealistic. H.W. Jeter tries to make it to where you could make it believable, but it's not. Another thing I have a problem with is everyone seems to know that there's trouble brewing on Endor. The Alliance and the Empire are going to have a big showdown on Endor. How do you know that? H.W. Jeter forgot about Return of the Jedi. The secret project of the Death Star is there on Endor. They're gathering towards Sullust, you know, as kind of a, you know, red herring to get the Empire off the track so that they could do a surprise attack on Endor. But it seems like the entire galaxy knows that there's a battle on Endor because H.W. Jeter, all that he remembers from Return of the Jedi is they fought on Endor. And this is where his story ends, is right after the Battle of Endor. So I kind of got to move this on my timeline, which I will by the time this comes out, but definitely comes out before Truce of Bakura. Anyway, but everyone seems to know that the Empire and the Rebellion are having a final showdown on Endor. We hear that in this book and the last one. And this is great. So Neela was getting Dengar to retell the story of Boba Fett and with the spider, you know, agent or whatnot, and that whole thing with the Bounty Hunter Wars and what was going on with it. Well, this is an excerpt. I took it out. Now, Dengar is asleep, and why are we told he's asleep now? Worn out from relating Boba Fett's grim history to her. Like most bounty hunters, he was a creature of action, shifting words abroad, bringing the past to life, even in the rawest, most direct terms, was hard labor for him. What? So Dengar doesn't have the mental capacity to tell a story, or when he does, words hurt his brain. So he has to take a nap. And of course, she forces him to wake up and tell him the rest of the story. Now here's the thing. Dengar was not there during the story. So how did he hear about the story? Well, I think an editor maybe told H.W. Jeter that, and he went, oh, okay. So later on, toward the end, when Neela goes, I thought you said something, something, something. And Dengar goes, hey, I'm just telling you the story as how Boba Fett told me. Wait, when did Boba Fett tell you the story? When did he sit down? Because you weren't friends before Return of the Jedi. We know that. So I guess while he was injured and unconscious, he told you the story right before, and then you turned around immediately and told it to Neela? I mean, it really is bad. And again, H.W. Jeter doesn't care about that continuity in there. He was just told to throw a line in there to fix it. So he did a quick fix on it. It's kind of lazy when you think about it, continuity-wise. Anyway, going back to the past, Caesar decides to let Fett live. Fett kind of outmaneuvers Caesar a little bit. And when they get to the spider, I can't think of the spider's name right now, Kuab Mubat, it turns out that one of his little nodes, Balance Sheet, has basically been independent for some time and takes over, killing the master spider and then becoming the new go-between. And Balance Sheet got on, I don't know, the holo prompter and called Zizor and said, hey, Boba Fett's worth more to us alive than your secret is, than keeping your secret. So Prince Zizor agrees, and Boba Fett finds out he's been betrayed. Also, Balance Sheet steals, I don't know, half of the huge bounty from that stormtrooper they brought in. Balance Sheet, I don't know if it's she, but he takes the money from Boba Fett, half of the account, saying, that's the price of me saving your life. And Boba Fett's like, nobody steals from me. Okay, Boba Fett, so you can't keep your word, right? Again, him betraying Zuckuss in the second book, I can't get over. They made a deal. A deal's a deal. And Boba Fett keeps saying that. A deal's a deal. Yeah, but unless you make the deal, then you can change the odds. That's why it's just, it's such a total miss here. Anyway, we find out that Boba Fett's been listening in on Dengar, relating the story to Neela the whole time on the ship's audio system. In fact, when Neela goes up to the cockpit, she has a blaster. She still has Boba Fett's blaster. Boba Fett has a new blaster. She's thinking, should I leave Boba Fett alive? Really? You can make the decision. She could have killed Boba Fett at any time. Should she keep Boba Fett alive? But she's intrigued on where their destination is. And Boba Fett says, did you get all the story from Dengar about my life? She's like, oh, you've been listening in this whole time. And of course, this is just something where we can write, 4 extra pages of nonsense just to get that page count up. Anyway, Boba Fett talks about the fake video that was about Luke Skywalker's Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru getting killed. In fact, it looks like a Faline was in that stormtrooper squad. And this goes for like 20, 30 pages, okay, where they debate about this video and whatnot. It's all faked later on, but it feels like Sherlock Holmes, where Fett is kind of relaying the story, and Neil's like, but what would this be? What would this be? And then finally he's like, wait, you mean there was a Faline there? What Faline would it be? Who do you think? Oh, there's Prince Zizor. Yes, because he's the only Faline in the Star Wars universe. Correct. And but it wasn't Prince Zizor. How do you know? Because looking at the overlay, the special scent, yeah, why would it be Prince Zizor? Why would Prince Zizor lower himself to go on a stormtrooper squad to kill off someone's aunt and uncle for someone who wasn't even known to be important at the time? That makes no sense. But we don't talk about that. But anyway, Boba Fett found out that scent was overlaid over the actual video edit. So I'm glad they tracked down the video of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's parents getting killed. I'm glad the stormtroopers, filmed that for YouTube later on. But he found out it was overlaid over the original video. And Dengar's every once in a while going, by Jove, Holmes, Fett, good show, man. Dengar's like, oh, that's very brilliant. Like I said, it reads like Sherlock Holmes. And it's 20 and 30 pages of exposition that we don't need. We don't need. All we know is that Kuwait faked it. Why? Later on, we're told that he wanted to set up Prince Zizor to take the fall. He wanted Luke and the Rebel Alliance to go after Black Sun and take them down. But it turned out the video didn't need to be made because Luke and his friends went ahead and took Black Sun down anyway. Then what was the whole point of the fake video? It really becomes pointless. And if you think about it, everyone should have been going, but why did you want to fake this type of video? That Prince Zizor was involved with Aunt Owen and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's deaths. That's just a stretch. Anyway, their destination is to go back to Kedar Moonbat and reconnect him to his web. He's kind of been dead for a while, but he still has some, I don't know, when he gets reconnected, he comes back to life, reanimated life for a little while. He and Fett talk about some of the good old days. Fett needs some information from him. Balance Sheet has the information now, but he also knows that Balance Sheet got that from Mubat, so he wants to see it. So we're seeing, Kedar Mubat and what happened to him afterwards. He was betrayed by Balance Sheet and essentially killed. And I don't know, Mubat at first says, I won't share anything with you. And plus, I'm used to being dead, so you can kill me. And he starts laughing. Well, Boba Fett decides to torture him. Oh, now that feels really bad. So yeah, I'd rather have death than torture. So I'll tell you what you need to know. Another thing that some editor at Lucasfilm told HDWG said, oh, hey, wait, the Alliance needs to have the Slave One in lockup. Because according to Dark Empire, he doesn't break it out till afterwards. And H.W. Jeter goes, what? But I already had him take back the Slave One. Okay, so he just writes another one-liner that the Alliance recaptured the Slave One, as Boba Fett left it derelict in space to jump on the Hound's Tooth. And so it's in, lockdown at the Alliance again. I don't know. It's really just a Band-Aid over the continuity there. And I see my wife turned on the heater, which means I have to move out of that room and over here to the hallway. Anyway, Neela gets her memory back. She knows her name. We're told that in one of the chapters. But when she confronts her sister, she knows that her sister kidnapped her. She knows why. She knows what was going on. She knows why she was getting a mind wipe for her sister to cover up something with the business. And it's like, okay, well, when did we find out as a reader? We didn't know. But all of a sudden she knows. It doesn't feel like that big of a payoff because the whole time we're told Neela's not her real name. There's something special with her. Boba Fett knows who she is. Mubat even says something to her. She's like, I know you. She's like, I know more than you think. And you're thinking, yeah, you found out your real name. But supposedly she said, yeah, once I discovered my real name, then all my other memories came flooding in. Is that how a memory wipe works? I don't know. Anyway, Dengar calls off his partnership with Boba Fett as Boba Fett's flying crazy and is about to get him killed. And Boba Fett goes, okay, so we're even then. Okay, well, then what did you show up to his wedding? Because that was one of the things that was in there. That was in one of the agreements. And, Tales from Jabba's palace. But again, H.W. Jeter forgets about all that. He doesn't really care. He just wants to tell his story, and that's it. And also, I don't even know why Fett would honor his agreement in the first place with him, because remember, Fett can change the rules whenever he wants. Kuwait, of course, dies. He kind of blows up most of his shipyard in the end. After Boba Fett gets some answers, he doesn't get all the answers. There's a showdown with him, and then it goes away. And then at the end, they say, hey, Fett, did you catch up with Kuwait? Did he give you all the answers he needed? He went, yes, he gave me enough. Because I guess H.W. Jeter didn't even know where he was going with that story. Again, Kuwait, very boring character. Neela wonders at the end, as Boba Fett's leaving, should she have left Boa in that desert to die? Well, I don't know, Neela, because you weren't there. Even at the beginning of the first book, I went back and looked at it, Dengar finds the body. And then Neela comes wandering in looking for Fett. Maybe she'd seen Fett in the desert earlier, but it didn't matter. She didn't save him. Dengar did. Again, this is so terrible. Monterey is at the very end because H.W. Jeter was told you have to put her in, and she made a bet that Dengar would be alive after partnering up with Boba Fett. And she made tons of money on that bet. Well, good for her. And so now they're going to live happily ever after, I guess. Whew. This is a bad one. This is a bad one. I remember thinking it was okay, and there's still some okay moments here, but it's just a mess. H.W. Jeter did not want to do his homework. He wanted to tell his own story with Boba Fett and then be done with it. He didn't want to hell with continuity. He just wanted to tell his own story, and he threw some one-liners in there to kind of smooth things over, and it ended up being a pretty bad book overall. It is a worthy consideration for my top 10 worst EU books now, just because of how lazy it was. You didn't have to do much, but breaking your own continuity at times it's just laziness. So not as enjoyable my second time through, but now I'm done with it. All right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.